The Bermuda Triangle has been the subject of several TV shows, books, documentaries, and articles. Located between the Bahamas, the island of Bermuda, and the east coast of the United States, the Bermuda Triangle, also called the Devil's Triangle, has inspired lots of dread and fascination. However, people know more of the myth of the Bermuda Triangle than the facts about this location. In the imaginations of many, the Bermuda Triangle is a no-go area, as passers-by end up lost or dead. But in reality, the Bermuda Triangle is an elusive place, making it difficult to actually tell if you are within its perimeter. It cannot be found on any map, and when crossing the Atlantic, you're unlikely to even notice that you are in the Bermuda Triangle. So why is there so much attention around this location? What happens in the Bermuda Triangle? And what makes it so scary and mysterious? Well, let's find out. To understand the attention that accompanies the Bermuda Triangle, we will have to trace the origin of the phrase to a magazine writer who coined it in 1964. Since the publication of an article that describes the mysterious events that have taken place at the Bermuda Triangle, the location has received a lot of attention. But long before this writer called this location the Bermuda Triangle, the island of Bermuda had long been known as a dangerous place where seafarers often met their doom. In one pamphlet dated to 1609, a writer described the island of Bermuda as a most enchanted place, offering nothing but gusts, storms, and foul weather. The writer compared the island to the Scylla and Charybdis, Aegean sea monsters described by Homer in the Odyssey. Some even postulate that the island of Bermuda was the inspiration behind one of William Shakespeare's most notable works, The Tempest. But it was in 1964 that the Bermuda Triangle took on the cloak of mystery and fear. This was when the article, The Deadly Bermuda Triangle, was published in Argosy magazine. The article chronicled a series of shipwrecks and aircraft disappearances that occurred around the triangle. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops in 1918 is one of the most notable Bermuda Triangle disappearances. The 164-meter naval vessel was on a voyage from Brazil to Baltimore Harbor, carrying with it 10,000 tons of manganese ore. The USS Cyclops had to make a stop at Barbados to restock its supplies for the 9-day journey ahead. But after getting new supplies at Barbados, the ship and the 309 men aboard it were never seen again. There was no sign of the ship's disappearance, not even an oil slick, despite the Navy's best efforts to search the ocean. Eventually, the USS Cyclops was declared lost at sea. It became the greatest loss of life in U.S. naval history in a non-combat situation. To date, no one knows what exactly happened to the USS Cyclops. The U.S. Navy Avengers Flight 19 is the most popular Bermuda Triangle disappearance ever documented. On the afternoon of December 5, 1945, 5 Avenger torpedo bombers took off from the U.S. Naval Air Station located in Fort Lauderdale. The bombers were to embark on a routine exercise flying 150 miles east, then 40 miles north, after which they were expected to return to the base, but that never happened. 1 hour, 45 minutes after takeoff, the flight leader, Charles Taylor, made a call to Fort Lauderdale Tower, revealing to the personnel at the tower that he couldn't see land. Taylor sounded confused, and the major thing the personnel at Fort Lauderdale Tower could pick out was that Charles said, "We cannot be sure of where we are." The tower lost radio contact with Charles for 10 minutes, after which another call was received where the voices of other crew members could be heard, but they all sounded disoriented. 20 minutes later, another pilot made a call. This time, he was more audible. He reported, "It looks like we're entering white water. We're completely lost." At that point, it was clear that the pilots and their bombers were in trouble. A Mariner seaplane with a 13-man crew was sent out to the Avenger's last known positions. However, the Mariner seaplane and its crew members would never return. Like the 5 bombers and their crew, the plane vanished. For the next 5 days, the Navy searched the ocean for the lost aircraft, but they found nothing. Another notable disappearance took place on December 28, 1948. This time, it was a DC-3 passenger plane. At the time, it was regarded as one of the most reliable aircraft ever built. On that day, this DC-3 was flying from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Miami, USA. 50 miles from Miami, the pilot, Captain Robert E. Lindquist, contacted the Air Traffic Control Center in New Orleans to provide his coordinates, which was rather weird considering he should have been speaking with Air Traffic Control at Miami instead. That was the last time anyone heard from the captain or anyone on the crew. On February 2, 1963, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a 19-year-old oil tanker, was on its way to Norfolk, Virginia from Beaumont, Texas. In its cargo, the ship carried 15,000 tons of molten sulfur stored in special heated tanks. But the SS Marine Sulphur Queen never reached its destination. The ship and its crew perished at sea. But unlike other Bermuda Triangle disappearances, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen did not disappear without a trace. Following a search, a life vest, a broken oar, pieces of a raft and other debris was recovered at sea. Yet again, another noticeable Bermuda Triangle disappearance involving a C-119 flying boxcar. One night in 1965, a flying crew from the Air Force Reserve Command's 440th Airlift Wing boarded this plane from Milwaukee, destined for the Turks and Caicos Islands located south of the Bahamas. The plane landed at Homestead Air Force Base in Florida and stopped over for 2 hours and 43 minutes. Later that evening, the crew took off heading towards Grand Turk, but they never reached their destination. Throughout the flight, there was no distress call and no communication from the captain. A few scraps of debris were later found confirming that the plane went down. Experts put the demise of the plane to the lack of fuel. There have been many theories attempting to explain the numerous disappearances around the Bermuda Triangle. Charles Berlitz, the man who made the Bermuda Triangle a real thing in his article, theorized that alien abduction could be one of the reasons for the numerous disappearances. He also suggested that there were interdimensional changeover zones present in the Bermuda Triangle, a feature he compared to a hole in the sky through which aircraft can enter but never leave. One other bizarre theory about the disappearances at the Bermuda Triangle is that the region is home to the lost city of Atlantis, where the remnants of its advanced technologies still lie. However, these theories are nothing but wild imaginations of people without concrete substance to back them up, of course. The number of notable disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle might raise eyebrows, but there is a plausible explanation for this, an explanation that largely demystifies the region. It is a known fact that the Bermuda Triangle falls within the area of one of the most highly trafficked regions for amateur pilots and sailors. This explains why there are more incidents of disappearances, which are obviously accidents. It follows a simple logic. The higher the traffic in the region, the more accidents and disappearances you're likely to have. In addition to this, the Bermuda Triangle is notorious for bad weather, and the region where most Atlantic tropical storms and hurricanes pass through. The Gulf Stream, which passes through this region, can sometimes cause violent and unprecedented shifts in weather conditions. The Gulf Stream travels along the western edge of the triangle, reaching speeds as high as 4 to 5 knots per hour, which is 300 times faster than the Amazon River. Inexperienced sailors caught in the Gulf Stream can easily be taken 100 miles off course, erasing any signs of a disaster at sea. Waterspouts, which are described as tornadoes at sea, pull water from the sea's surface while generating winds as fast as 125 miles per hour, posing huge threats to both ships and aircraft. Waterspouts are common in the Bermuda Triangle. This explains why, in the times before modern weather forecasting techniques were developed, it was not surprising for sailors and pilots to be caught off guard by poor weather in the Bermuda Triangle. Apart from bad weather, the topography of the region could prove treacherous to ships because of the many areas of shallow water surrounding the islands of the Caribbean. Underwater earthquakes in the region could also add to the dangers that ships experience within the triangle. Another factor that must not be discounted when it comes to explaining the cause of the numerous Bermuda Triangle disappearances is human error. Many of the notable disappearances at the Bermuda Triangle were caused by human error. This includes people misreading compasses, sailors and pilots making poor navigational decisions, and other simple, avoidable errors, such as carrying insufficient fuel. Since the improvement of navigation equipment, the number of disappearances within the Bermuda Triangle has massively reduced, a pointer to the fact that the mystery surrounding the Bermuda Triangle is not supernatural, and therefore many, if not all, known disappearances can be explained if thoroughly investigated. Did you like this video? Then be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Remember to hit the notification icon too. And of course, we'll see you in our next video.